Joining me now, Mo'Kelly and Tony Katz, host of the Mo'Kelly Show and the podcast Eat, Drink, Smoke. It's great to have you guys back. Mo, let's start with you. 40% approval rating for the Supreme Court. Does this have anything to do with the beating these nominees take in the process?
I think it all works together. Let's not forget that these are a political appointee. They are extensions in many ways of political parties. So it's very difficult to separate them from what we feel about the political party which should nominate him or her. But the bigger picture is they're not political officials. In other words, they don't need our votes. They don't need our support. They don't need us in the sense of making donations, and they will be on the court ostensibly for the rest of their professional careers. Right. So I would not put too much stock in the 40%. But I do think it highlights how we feel about the extensions of these politicians.
Tony, is it too much to ask of this process not to denigrate these nominees?
Well, it's too much to ask now that the nominees not be denigrated. If you and I are sitting on the bar stool, yeah, we just want to know what it is they think about the Constitution, what it is they think about the amendments, what it is they think about the rule of law, how they have adjudicated cases in the past, and what is their thought on cases in the future. But one of the things you heard today, whether it be from Senator Lindsey Graham or Ted Cruz or a host of others, was you won't see what happened to Brett Kavanaugh happen to this nominee, to Brown Jackson, because what happened to Brett Kavanaugh was a sin. And for the Democratic Party now to be angry about it, you caused the problem. You did the thing. And now you want to turn around and say, how dare you even ask a question of this nominee? Well, the 40% number, I think Mo's right. I don't know how much stock I would put in it. But that number, if we apply it to those members of the Senate Judiciary Committee who abused Brett Kavanaugh for no reason whatsoever other than they wanted to hate a Trump nominee, I think the number's far lower.
All right, let's listen to actually a little bit of the testimony today that we did hear in this. We'll start with this, just what you were talking about there from Senator Ted Cruz.
Judge Jackson, I can assure you that your hearing will feature none of that disgraceful behavior. No one is going to inquire into your teenage dating habits. No one is going to ask you with mock severity, do you like beer?
I'm sorry. That is one of those moments from these nominations. Here's the beer bite. Actually, we have a little more on that, I think.
We drank beer, my friends and I, the boys and girls. Yes, we drank beer. I liked beer, still like beer.
All right, Mo, let's get back to the point here, because I think my question for you is, did the president not do Ketanji Brown Jackson any favors by saying he would appoint a black woman? Because I guess some people might say that he has, in essence, made it about her identity and not about her resume.
I absolutely agree. I thought it was a fundamental mistake by President Biden to even mention that. We're all clear on what his promise was on the campaign trail, but he didn't have to call his shot if he wanted to take that victory lap about nominating a black woman to the Supreme Court. He could have just nominated her, had her confirmed, and then took the victory lap. So he who says race first loses. He brought it up, and so now it's a focal point. And what you get lost in is the political theater, and you don't necessarily drill down on the resume. Let her be judged on her merits. Yes, there's been a dearth of African Americans. There's never been an African American woman on the court. We all know that. Let her stand on her own. And I think President Biden robbed her of that opportunity.
Right. Tony, literally, they're giving me the rap sign, but I'll give you 10 seconds.
The only reason that she was picked is because Joe Biden had to do it in order to satisfy a voter base. You think Biden shouldn't have done it? If he doesn't do it, he doesn't get elected. That's the way a lot of people see this. Identity politics at its worst. And yes, she's robbed of her merits.
Mo'Kelly, by the way, our condolences for the passing of your father as well. I wanted to pass that along. And Tony Katz, it's good to see you both again. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.